Welcome to Very Honored Frater BT's Esoterinerd podcast, episode 117. You can come through. Okay. In which Dan Garber and Terri Sena and I interview Tamra Lucid. But first,
Thomas and the Wolf.
I have no idea what you just heard because I haven't recorded it yet. All right, so for this one, I'm going to be in a few episodes ago, I recorded chapter 1 of Thomas and the Wolf. And if you have a copy of this, you'll note that under the dedication it says, "For my dad." Not to be mistaken for dedicated to my dad. This is for my dad. He passed away in 1993, so I figure he'll be somewhere in his mid to late 20s by now, and I'm hoping he'll read this. Anyway, I'm not going to read all of chapter 2, but most of it. Chapter 2, entitled Dream. You and I, we've been on a long journey, and every step of it is contained in the right now. Or is it, rather, that we've stayed in the right now and run through a holographic projection tape of a long journey? Does it matter that much of a difference one way or the does it make that much of a difference one way or the other? Can you run the tape forwards and back again as I can, or can't you? It doesn't matter whether you can or can't. People often get stuck on hope, despair, fear, courage, aha, and huh, when they run their tapes. This makes them act their tapes out again and again. As for you and me, what are we bragging about? This also makes us act our tapes out again and again. So that's the end of the red letter text. Now we're moving on to the regular green text. If you've read Never-Ending Story, then you have a clue what that means. Samuel. Who's there? My name's not Samuel. Thomas was walking through a great forest beside a knotted network of roots. He stopped and crouched down to see a pool of rainwater collected there. Samuel. Who's there? There's no Samuel here. Thomas walked away from the roots, off the path, into a field of fresh green wheat. He saw a face in the sky. He squinted, blocking the sun with his hand. I know you. Tom recognized the face of the man from the free speech rallies, the one who calls himself the Wolf. Tom had openly mocked him before on his channel. The Wolf's face seemed to fill the whole sky. He looked down directly at Tom and said, Samuel. Thomas woke with a start. There's a little dot indicating we're moving on to another section, but it's still chapter 2. Gwen sat across the table from Thomas, pondering the meaning of his dream. You probably just subconsciously feel guilty for ridiculing the poor guy. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but, the guy's a loon. It was their first time meeting for lunch as just friends in the usual spot. Tom interjected, well, I wouldn't. I'm not a mental health care specialist. I don't know if he has any issues like that going on, but no. The guy who howls in the desert with a dead animal on his head and thinks that everybody needs to read Ayn Rand is a perfectly rational, well-adjusted guy? I'm just saying we shouldn't call him a loon. Oh, right. Gwen sipped her mocktail, a little embarrassed. I just mean, obviously, he attends these far right-wing rallies drunk. He appropriates other cultures and thinks it's okay to wear First Nations religious regalia, talks about karma as if he knows what that is. He's just some dumb New Age redneck. Gwen, we shouldn't, Tom advised, worried he might be mansplaining. I know, he just pisses me off. Me too. I don't like him either, Tom said, finishing his kale salad. Dot. If I tell you something, do you promise not to laugh? Gwen nodded. Tom looked around, leaned in, and said quietly, I know this is totally not like me, but I think there was something more to it. I think I'm supposed to find him and meet him. I don't know why, but I can feel it in my bones. Maybe I could interview him and confront him about his views and what he represents. Gwen shook her head. Even if you mean well, the end result would be you're just giving him airtime. You're letting him get his message out there. He won't directly answer your questions. He'll use your platform to talk to his own base, and your reputation will never recover. Tom nodded. He sipped his soy chai latte. I'll figure out a way to do it where that doesn't happen. You're gonna email him or what? He doesn't have email. Thinks it's the mark of the beast or something. Then what? You're going to one of those rallies? Tom's eyes lit up. No, he'll be at Burning Man. I'm going to go ahead and finish the chapter. These chapters are short. The book is short. Pick it up. All right, here we go. Hello, it's me, Thomas again. Welcome back. If you're new, welcome for the first time. Anyway, I'd like to thank all of you because today I received... Tom spent an inordinate amount of time opening a package, revealing his new silver rectangular thing from YouTube. My friends, my fans, my subscribers, this is really yours. Because if it weren't for all of you out there fighting the good fight, well, Tom put the award on one of the shelves in the obligatory black bookshelf behind him. It's a dream come true, making these videos full-time. I'm independent, more or less. I can pay the bills. Barely. No, really. But sometimes I won't call it a nightmare. It's just, well, you all might remember when I took a week off last year. When I returned, suddenly I wasn't in anybody's recommended videos anymore. People weren't being notified. So, yes, the almighty algorithm punishes people for taking time off. We should form a union against AI. Anyway, right now I'm going to record 3 videos back to back and set them to automatically release every other day, buying myself 6 days of vacation time. I might have beat the system, guys. I won't say where I'm going, but just so you know, I'm pursuing a possible interview with someone I've talked about here on this channel before, but I want to put my feelers out and see if that would even be a good idea first. So, if that pans out, then you'll be hearing more about it later. But today, I want to talk a little more about my personal hero, cue dramatic sound effect and graphic title, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
What the? Weren't we just... well, this is a strange dream. Incidentally, Dream, as I mentioned, was the title of that chapter, in which Tom has a dream that he sees the wolf, calling him Samuel for some reason. The wolf has a dream that's informed by Ayn Rand, and Tom has a dream that's informed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I, in the subtext, have a dream that involves being able to contact my dad in his new incarnation. And what would he think of me if he saw me, if a young intellectual Zoomer saw me? Some new age guy, Gen Xer, appropriating other people's cultures. I don't know what he'd think. But, yeah, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice if he read Thomas and the Wolf? And it was a bit like a whisper that seemed familiar. And wouldn't it be interesting if that eventually led him to read some of the source material, the Samuel parts, his own book that he wrote in a past life? Maybe it could give him a head start in this life. Happy birthday, Dad. So, enough about that. Let's move on to Making the Ordinary Extraordinary. In today's episode, Daniel Garber and Terri Sena and I interviewed the author of Making the Ordinary Extraordinary, Tamra Lucid. We talk about many things. We talk about Philosophical Research Society, Manly P. Hall, Marie Hall, and the Galactic Mother. So, without further ado, let's get to that interview, shall we? Greetings, Frater. Welcome back to the Esoterinerd podcast.
Greetings from New Mexico.
Yay! We made contact.
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you now. Cool.
You hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. You look like a ghostly apparition. It's a little blurry. Greetings, Sor. Welcome for the first time to the Esoterinerd podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Yay!
This is exciting.
Wow, it really is.
A blast from the past. How are you? You look awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm wearing the you remember this outfit from The Nightmares?
That outfit.
Yeah. Are you still with us, Dan?
Pardon me?
Oh, there's a third person here, but he might have drifted away. He looked like a ghostly apparition. But well, he'll come back. Anyway, yeah, it's not often we have people from the alma mater on the Esoterinerd.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. Have you been the past, oh God, how long has it been? 20 years?
When did you leave LA?
13. So, okay, 9 years.
Yeah, because we went to dinner with Daniel and Nancy.
That's true. Oh, I left in 17. Yeah.
Right before you left. So
Right.
that's what I saw you.
Oh, yeah. I'm good. Have you seen them at their new place in Burbank?
I have not.
Okay. That's my subtle way of asking if you went with the schism.
No, I didn't. I stayed where I was.
Yeah, I hope they're doing well. I wonder if one day they'll come on here.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I asked Todd, I don't know, 7 years ago, but hey, Todd, I know you're watching. You're cordially re-invited to the Esoterinerd podcast. We'd love to have you on, and any of the others too, but mostly you. You know how it is.
Yeah, he's so knowledgeable. Todd is.
Yeah, and Daniel's already been on. You know, it'd be a repeat of what we've already done before. And Nancy, of course, it'd be lovely to have on. We could talk a bit of Taoism, a bit of Buddhism, a bit of Golden Dawn. That'd be a trip.
Yeah, and she's got a really strong connection to the Holy Mother. That's beautiful.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Well, hopefully the others will be joining us pretty soon. So you read?
I did. Look.
Oh, nice. We both got it. Oh, what a good book. I just finished it today. I had to read the second half kind of quickly because I was, I'm a slow reader and I put things off to the last minute. It's a horrible habit, but I really enjoyed it. And it was a little sad toward the end though, but yeah.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
To end it with that type of, he had such a huge legacy.
Yeah, but it was such a beautiful story while it lasted.
Oh, I started reading, and it was one of those I couldn't put down.
Yeah.
She does, the occult brings out that cast of characters, and she identified all of them.
Yeah. And I love her descriptions of the architecture around Los Feliz, of PRS itself, and the architecture like across the street on the north side of Los Feliz, and the Hall's place. I feel like I was there. Their tea house, their Japanese tea house. I feel like I was there with Alan Watts in a lecture he gave.
Yes, she made them very real and accessible.
Yeah.
And funny, that's what I like. Yeah,
funny old folks.
I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, me
I
too.
couldn't put it down. I zipped right through it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get back in. I think I was a victim of, when I was supposed to be learning to read, Atari was, the big thing. And then Nintendo came shortly after that. So I just was, that generation. Oh, I had a plan and I'm not following through with my plan.
Okay.
Normally I do this. There we go. Now I'm really here. I'm lit up. I was in the shadows before. See, I got the incense smoke behind me. It's all, part of the stage.
Yeah.
The
I like
psychodrama
it.
of it all. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. I just came
So-
in my muggle outfit. So
Yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into the swing of reading. I've got this bookshelf here. I've got the Buddhist books, thing going, and I'm reading every day half an hour. Well, trying to read half an hour a day of Buddhist books on YouTube, and getting into the swing of it. Trying to become more scholarly and less of a YouTube and social media addict.
Okay, it looks like Daniel's trying to come on.
Okay.
That's what I see on my screen.
Daniel. He used to
Hello.
be known as, there he is. Well, there's his name anyway. We hear your voice and we see your name. I guess that's enough. By names and images
There you
are all
go.
powers awakened and reawakened.
Okay. I'm going to do audio only to keep my bandwidth down.
Okay, fair enough. We saw you for a moment. People can remember, and yeah, that'll add an interesting element. So it's nice. Sometimes I like to meet up with the co-host, or in this case, plural co-hosts, before the guest comes, and that seems to have happened serendipitously. So
Nice to meet you, Daniel.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you're in New
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah, there's a big storm going on outside my trailer. I'm in a house trailer. Well, in a 31-foot travel trailer.
oh wow.
And so hopefully that noisy noise won't interfere.
Wow. Now, Terry, do you know Naha in Silver Lake? Is she in Silver Lake at the Temple of, what's it called, brother?
Temple of Intuition, House of Intuition.
Do you know her? Have you met her?
I have not. I know
Okay.
of the place, but I have not met her.
Okay. I was gonna now. Daniel was one of her big influences and a teacher years ago.
Oh,
so
good.
yeah, so there's a connection that you guys may already have indirectly. And then Terry, of course, she and I were in the same. We were involved with the same group for many years. So we were. A lot of our most deep traumas we experienced together. So it's a little bit like an old war buddy.
That's right. We can celebrate we got through it.
Yes.
Yes. It made us, deeper, stronger individuals.
Stronger, stranger, something. Yeah.
And, yeah. We worked through all our old trauma.
100%. Yeah. 100%, or at least 70. I don't know.
Yeah. Very cool.
Nice. Now, brother, you're going to be participating in the Sundance again this year?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Up in the Lakota territory.
Beautiful.
The Pine Ridge Reservation.
Oh.
A rare opportunity for white folk.
Yes, it's very humbling.
It's an honor. Good for you.
And to me, that's a big difference between those ways and the Hermetic ways. Hermetic ways, in particularly Crowley derived groups, it seems to me that they're all about the ego, fulfilling one's own will, whereas the Lakota ways are all about shedding that ego and becoming humble.
He used to be known as Garber before they got to him.
Now he goes by his given name. In the spirit of that humility.
That's true, actually.
I think this is your 5th time on the Esoterinerd, brother.
Is that a record?
No, Kes Fry has the record. He's been on 6 times.
Oh, so almost.
Yeah. But close. Yeah, one more and you're tied.
Yeah, you're there. It's like when they competitively just host Saturday Night Live. So,
yeah. Alec Baldwin again. So yeah, you can hear Dan's whole story. This goes for you, Sor, and for everyone watching. On the main Esoterinerd website, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see his name, and you'll see his name with a 1, with a 2 in front of it, and then a 3 and a 4. And you can hear when we first met and talked, and we were in the temple in my old sanctuary, and I was had the phone, and I was just recording while we were hanging out at the house, the old house, and then your buddy Walter came on, and you co-hosted that one. Remember?
Yes.
And I was worried about him because I saw his episode, 8 people watched it in like 2 days, and I was like, oh my God, is he still alive? And so I wrote to him. I'm like, dude, are you okay? And then he wrote back, yeah, I'm fine. Good to hear from you. I was like, phew, So, so then you came on again. Oh, you're right. You came on, and a friend of mine at the time was co-hosting, and you talked about the Lakota. You were just getting in hardcore into the Lakota path. I mean, you were in it already, but you were shifting your focus away from Hermeticism completely and focusing on the Lakota path. And then I think the 4th and 5th, this is your 6th time, brother. You're tied with Kes. So the 4th and 5th times were the attempted conversation, and then the successful conversation where you talked to Robbie and I about the whole experience. The other thing you were talking about was the protest, the oil pipeline protest.
Yes.
And Tamra, is that where you met Tamra, or did you know her before that?
Well, she interviewed me after I came back from Standing Rock.
Right.
Because she was very interested in that whole movement. And in particular, she did a documentary about the women of Standing Rock. So when she published that interview, there were some people that were involved in Standing Rock called the Lakota People's Law Project. Those people read that interview with me and decided to hire me and send me out to Pine Ridge with my all expenses paid.
Wow. So she had a very big influence on your path.
Yes.
Wow.
But this
cool.
This documentary that she worked on is quite something. It's you should talk to her about that.
Okay, cool. Is it on YouTube?
No.
I don't think it's there yet.
Oh, hey! Welcome!
Thank you.
The guest of honor has arrived.
Oh, God.
Our guest for tonight. Wow. So nice
Just
to
to
meet
be
you.
Just to be retentive about it, that's Shannon Kring's movie.
She's been eavesdropping. Just listening.
Shannon's in the Water Protectors.
Okay. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, we recommend all of that, and wow, it's really nice to meet you. I feel like I already know you because I've been absorbed in this all day, and beautiful, just beautiful. I mean, the end was very sad, but not to like put spoilers out. Everybody should read this. Don't listen to what I said about the ending. We'll edit that out.
No, the ending is sad.
Yeah, it is sad.
Yeah. But
the rest of it,
it's a story, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, stories have endings. They tend to.
And sometimes they're sad.
Yeah, that's true. I like your cat.
Which one?
The one here, the black one. Oh, wait, is this a background?
That cat?
Yeah. Oh, there's a real cat meowing somewhere.
Oh, there's There's many cats in my house. There are many cats.
Very
Yes.
nice, very nice.
Wouldn't be a home without them.
How nice. Well, let me introduce you. This is Terri, an old friend of mine. We were in the
Hi,
same
Terri.
Golden Dawn group together.
Nice.
Yeah. And then you know Daniel, of course.
I'm not sure I do.
He basically introduced us, even though we were Facebook friends already. But
Yeah.
we had only said hello, and that was as far as that went. But then he said, "You have to interview my friend," and I said, "Oh, okay." And then I became more aware of who you are, and I love your descriptions of the architecture of PRS and the houses north of Los Feliz. And I don't know. I those are my old stomping grounds. But I think for even people who aren't from that area, it'll really paint a picture for them.
Yeah. Well, it's just so archetypal.
Yeah.
And it has this like mirage thing because it's modern. And these buildings and these houses were just, they always did remind me of seances in the 20s.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, ooh, this is going to be exciting. And kind of what Mr. Hall was doing when he first got here, you know, he was giving his lectures in living rooms and, you know, developing his skills and developing his style and what he was going to do eventually.
Yeah.
All those crazy kids.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the book. You made Mr. Hall so relatable and accessible instead of, you know, some mystic out there that, you know, I can't tap into. And I appreciated that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
He really was. He was so genuinely genteel and sweet and caring and also very funny, really funny guy. He always made me look like such an idiot because he just, you know, raise an eyebrow and look at me and I'd start snickering helplessly. I'm really cheap laugh. I know I am, but hey, it's good for the room.
Edward has the same character.
I'm just like one of those people that can't suppress that, you know, if something makes me laugh or I think it's funny, I'm going to laugh in inappropriate places, you know, funerals, things like that. It's a very serious moment. Sorry.
The more serious, the more impossible it is not to laugh.
I really believe that's true. You know?
And Marie, I didn't know. I had heard a little bit about her asking, you know, that was one thing I noticed. I wasn't very close to PRS, but my mom and I would go. My dad, of course, passed away in ~93, but then after that, I would go with my mom, and then she passed away in '98, so I'd go alone. You know how it is. But I noticed, especially in the '90s, that there were these older ladies that when you brought up Manly P. Hall, they would glow. They would just go into a dream and smile and just start talking, you know. I was like, okay, I think she was in love with him, you know, or something. My mom and I would talk back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think he bred that kind of affection because of his kindness.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's throwing a nice vibe out, people will respond in kind.
Yeah.
You know.
But it was nice. So they told us a little bit about Marie, but it was nice to get a very full picture. And kind of now I feel like I can hear her accent and, you know, the bracelets and the height and, you know, just her full personality. And
Driving,
yeah. And that old, what was it?
Driving was an experience.
Yeah. That old 70s car. And I know, of course, that driveway, exactly where she would have driven and then down to that intersection. And
yeah, that driveway was exciting too. I just recalled that. Yeah. How she
running that red light right outside. Yeah.
Merely signs and you know, stop signs and stop lights, merely suggestions that were annoying.
So their house, I mean, now that they, you know, it's in the past,
Where was it? Was it very close to PRS? Was it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like just kind of that street, or like
Yeah,
to the left, or to
cross
the right?
Los Feliz and go up Hillhurst. I think it was something like that.
Oh wow!
And it was just a couple blocks up there. It was just a beautiful beautiful space. All those houses there had big yards. I love the big yards, you know, and big old trees, beautiful old trees. There you go.
And on the way up to Griffith Observatory, I've probably passed that house a number of times. And then I was Uber driving before I left California, so I probably passed that house, I don't know, 100 times.
Right.
But I don't know what
Well, that's
else
what people always said about PRS is I've been driving past that place for 10 years, and I've always thought I want to go in, and you know, the public was welcome, but they never did.
I was lucky. I had parents that brought me there before I could make decisions, you know, so. And Bodhi Tree. I grew up at the Bodhi Tree too.
Oh,
so
beautiful. I miss that store to this day.
I think we all do.
Yeah. That was my one stop, whatever the event, when you needed to get a present, when you needed to shift your psyche a little bit because of something or other, you could always go to the Bodhi Tree, and just, it was such an intellectual and spiritual refreshment, just like water. You know, it's beautiful.
Later this month, my wife and I are going to Bodh Gaya, and we're going to see this tall, ancient Bodhi tree. Probably not the actual Bodhi tree that he sat under, but, you know, an ancient Bodhi tree that everybody reveres, and there's flags around it and monks chanting, and still it'll be a poor substitute for that little bookstore in Hollywood, you know?
True.
And, you know, you have to remember that was before the internet was as strong as it is now. So that's where you went to get your knowledge and information.
It was Google.
It was Google. Yeah.
Before alt magic.
Now, I wanted to bring up Marie too, because we have a shared friend, Victoria, that took Marie under her wing, basically there at the end of Marie's life. And Marie shared quite a bit of her knowledge with Victoria, who has then, you know, shared that on with others. And I just, you know, when I learned about Marie before I learned about Manly because of their friendship. And I just thought, I think Marie was just ahead of her time. She had some knowledge that is just now, I think, where people could actually start to absorb the sacred geometry that she was trying to teach. And she was a little ahead of her time.
Definitely. She, sacred geometry. We asked Mr. Hall once privately, what he really thought of Marie's work. And he said, she's in the lineage of great Christian mystics, a Jakob Böhme, for example, and Marie's philosophy rather line up. It's very much the same, he said. And I think that just she had a problem with selling it. She didn't know how to sell it correctly. And she, you know, I put in the book about how she would, you know, hey, Marie, why don't you do your own lectures? I'm no good at that. You know, I get too excited. And that was one of the problems. And that was also one of the reasons why people misinterpreted her, because she was trying desperately to express this stuff to get people on board with her particular philosophy. And she'd just be too excited. She'd be, you know, get amped up and
passion for it.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of the Galactic Federation and all that stuff that's much more popular now. The Galactic Mother, the Universal Mother.
Yep.
I mean, and then that made me think of Tara, not the Buddhist one, but the old Indian one, the goddess of the sky, and of course Nut in Egyptian.
Yeah, I mean, there's, but when you were describing about how she, in one breath she was talking about Yeshua or Jesus, and then Avalokiteshvara, and with tears in her eyes, and I was like, okay, I know where she's coming from. I mean, because people can talk spirituality, blah blah blah. They can talk Jesus, they can talk Buddha, but when you're talking about Avalokiteshvara with tears in your eyes, that means that you have tapped into deep compassion.
Right. You've had the experience.
Yeah.
Cosmic compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's trying to explain it to us simpletons.
And nerds and scholars and dusty old men with dusty old books.
Dusty old ideas,
That was
dust
good.
eaters. I was so curious if she mentioned any of that. Or one of my favorites was talking about something about time. And she had, I have more respect for time than to wear it on my wrist.
Oh, so good. Mm.
Wow.
But this is also, I was going to say, this is also, she's talking matriarchy. She's talking serious female energy. The forgotten part of the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. How you going to get a family out of that?
Right.
Kind of tweaked the Trinity concept a little to the masculine side. Good for you, boys. But that's not exactly the balance we were looking for and we're talking about here. Yeah. So, you know, anyone talking, restoring the feminine energy, the rightful place, the equal place of female energy, you're going to be considered outrageous and terrible and evil, probably. Yeah, evil's one of our big check. So yeah,
Lilith and all that. That's why we've got Kali hanging here. I tell my wife, you know, you can get as angry at me as you want, even irrationally angry. I'll just love you more because I like Kali. You know, I'm not one of those people who call you Lilith if you have a bad mood or something.
Well, yeah, I'm more of a Sekhmet type.
Oh yeah. Sekhmet Hathor, Kali Parvati.
Sekhmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the pretty side, the justice side.
Yeah. Nice.
And she's still working for the patriarchy, you know, she's working for her dad. So, you know, but you know, if the infants are going to get a little lippy, they're going to have to deal with stuff. They need to know the law.
Yeah. Nephthys was the one that, oh, we were talking about how my mom was Nephthys on AOL back in the 90s, and you were Sekhmet. Probably crossed paths in one of those old groups back when the internet was just, when there was Earthlink and Netscape was new. That was just coming, you know, but everybody had those AOL free 24 hours, free 48 hour CDs. 2 Dixie
cups and a string.
Now, are Marie's books available? Are they sold, or are they any used copies available, or new prints?
I personally have some of her reference books that Victoria Jennings had given to me. They're actually on loan with some friends that Edward and I have in common, Michelle and James Clark.
Oh, cool.
Asked to borrow them because they were researching Manly, but I do have a book of her sacred geometry drawings, but there's not a lot of content as far as describing what they are and how they came forward for her. Anything. It's just these drawings that they pull your consciousness into the actual drawing. And that's what's the point of her work, I believe. So she doesn't have, I don't think she ever published anything. Did she, Tamra?
Probably only probably through Veritat, now that I think about it. But through PRS.
Right.
I know that there were pamphlets and things that were available at the gift shop. And probably mail order. But I would have no idea. I think I have seen things, maybe eBay, occasionally.
Probably for $1,000 or something.
Right.
Well, maybe not.
Who's running PRS these days? Is it Fritz? I'm out of the loop.
Oh, I had.
No, not Fritz.
Oh, good. I didn't like him.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I don't know him. I only know him through this. But he was like, what was it, Daniel? Wormsworth or Wormwood? In
Wormtongue.
Yeah, in Lord of the Rings.
Wormtongue, right?
Wormtongue. Yeah, Wormtongue.
Yeah, poor Manly. Oh, that's a sympathetic image.
Well, we don't know if we don't know if Mr. Hall didn't take that on consciously. Now, do we?
Oh, you're right.
So,
yeah. Well, let's get back to a happier subject. Music. I like. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to be putting "To Be You" at the very end of this episode, and I wanted to mention that when in that brief part where Ronnie's singing, he reminded me of Fred Schneider from B-52s. I hope that's a compliment.
I'm not sure. You'll have to ask Ronnie.
But I enjoyed that, and I faded in. I'm sure you'll like it. I faded in some images of PRS and things like that, very subtly in the background.
Nice.
Yeah, put a nice little thing. So yeah, just to close. People can kind of hear, especially people who are going to read this, or maybe they have read this, then the characters can kind of come alive, on the screen for them. And we'll link to Lucid Nation on YouTube as well.
You might scare some of them off.
No, that's good.
Yeah, Tamra, are you still doing music?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's definitely a part of my life. So I do it. Well, right. Considering the pandemic and everything, we have had to improvise our expression of it, but we're looking forward to working with some people again, and have to play it by ear right now. And how appropriate.
Yeah, playing it by ear.
Good
Daniel,
fun.
you're so quiet. Daniel is quiet.
Daniel,
I'm just the
listening.
facilitator here.
I
Oh, no,
see.
say something. I made notes, but then I lost them, so I don't know.
My dog ate my notes.
I was earlier saying to Edward, one of your chapters is called Cast of Characters, and the occult does bring out such a cast of characters, and that it's almost archetypal. We've all been in different groups, and there's always, those same characters in the groups, and I like the way you described them, because you were very authentic. You didn't gloss over their craziness or anything, but yet you were respectful as to, their nature and who they were. Because I know some of these characters, it's hard to even have, converse with them. So you did a good job.
Thank you. Yeah, well, they are archetypal.
They really are.
And speaking symbolically, it's in storytelling, especially that medium, that's where the observation and the experience really comes in handy, and you can apply that and really show not only the individual, but the dynamic that kind of personality brings to any group. Also the response, my personal response to these people on their path, I'm just an observer here, and this is what I saw. And some of it was quite interesting. Some of it was, it would take one aback a bit. But mostly it was just a fascinating study in the human condition, the human experience, and watching people on their path, spiritual path,
Right.
is always interesting. It's what all those books are about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it. You didn't judge any of these people. You were just the observer, and you shared your observations. And I appreciated that you presented them in that way and your experience in that way.
Yeah, being Jane Goodall or Darwin observing the evolution on the spiritual path. It's like, so this is what they do. Oh.
I do have a question. The old Theosophical Society was actually a working group, and there were initiations. And I'm wondering whether there was anything like that, any kind of formal initiation into PRS.
Absolutely not, that I know of at all. I've never met anyone who said that. Didn't happen to us.
Unless you count the invitation into his office.
Right. Got to see the vault.
Yeah.
But no, no formal religious thing like that. Now, he was a Mason, 33rd degree Mason, and I know that's high up. So whether or not he had anything with his brothers in Masonry, I don't know. But no, there was nothing that I know of was like that.
Yeah, he was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a 32nd degree, so I know a little bit about it. The 33rd is an honorary thing, and it's very rare, actually. Do you know anything about how that came about, or anything about that?
No. I mean, I didn't interview him. I just ended up being friends with him and working for him. So I never went, so how did you get that? I was there when he got his honorary doctorate, and he found that terribly amusing. And he thought it was very flattering and very kind, but he didn't take it very seriously.
Dr.
Sort of
Hall.
like, yes, Dr. Hall. And he was like, nah, that's no. But he thought everybody who came over from the college and they stayed at their house and they got to hang out with him, and he thought that was delightful. But he just liked people. He liked talking to people. He liked hearing their points of view, and but it was merely a kindness, and he didn't. Yeah, that kind of seriousness, I never experienced. I wasn't talking on that level,
I have a question. I wonder if you can elaborate a little bit. I mean, I noticed, of course, it's very clear that Marie and Manly philosophically were on opposite ends of the universe, it seems like. She would wait outside. She wouldn't even listen to his lectures. And then when she was inside, she'd interrupt and she'd, tell him he was completely wrong. And then, but they loved each other so much. And I think if I recall correctly, they had an overlap where they both agreed on kind of this utopian Rosicrucian vision of what America is supposed to be. Am I off on that, Ms.
Terri?
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Where did that come from, Edward?
So, well, I mean, all right. Let's unpack this. Marie could not sit still if someone else was lecturing on her philosophy.
Right. Okay. So when Manley tried to explain her philosophy, then she
went
that
berserk.
was when I was reading
Yeah.
too quickly.
She was just
yeah.
she was very fussy, and she was very articulate and very precise about her work.
Right.
And he would, of course, put it in the flavor of his style.
Right.
That was not effective as far as Marie was concerned.
Okay.
And now I think that as far as his lectures, she just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And she had things to do at home, and, you know, her own writing and her own business. And then she had to pick him up, and they had to go to Michael's because it was Sunday. So, you know,
There was their ritual.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, I guess the reason I'm bringing it up is because it was such a, for me, it was such a disappointment as a young man reading Paul Foster Case's Great Seal of the United States and kind of catching that bug of, America is this great utopian vision, and then gradually, war after war, Afghanistan, then Iraq too, and everything, kind of becoming more and more disappointed and losing that at all. It was like I put it on a pedestal and then it fell off hard and the statue broke. And
well, you see, this is the thing. You're disappointed in the work of the humans and the business of government and territory and all that stuff. But the idea, the principle, the ideal, that's valid. That utopian ideal is valid. But don't be disappointed in the ideal. That's something you strive for. This is, you're supposed to work towards that. Now, that's why they preempt it. In a perfect world, and this is how I see a perfect world, all these bad things would be gone.
Yeah.
But this is an idealized mental construct. And when you apply that to anything, that could be applied in the music scene I was in. The ideal.
I did a dumb thing, guys. I didn't record the second half of it. So, unfortunately, all I have for you is the first half.
Thank you, Tamra Lucid, for being our guest today on the Esoterinerd podcast. Thank you, Dan Garber and Terri Sena, for co-hosting this episode. Thank you to Susumu Ueda and his father and the other monks at Jofuku Inn on Mount Koyasan for the music you're hearing right now. Thank you to Camille and Kennerly for the harp transition into and out of the interview itself.
A very special thanks to Siberian shaman Olena Utai, who provided the wolf howl that I used behind the announcing of the title of Thomas and the Wolf for what perhaps has become a new segment just before I read chapter 2. That particular howl came from one particular video. This video. Wait till the end of this video, but then, backtrack and find that card and watch that video. You won't regret it. Also, subscribe to her channel while you're there. And so today, I thought we'd close with something fun. It's an old music video from back in
the 1990s
when Tamra and Ronnie were active with the band Lucid Nation. And it's just a couple minutes, but I've interspliced some images from Philosophical Research Society in the background behind them. She's singing and playing guitar, and he's also playing guitar, so you'll get to see both of them. So if you've read this book, Making the Ordinary Extraordinary, then you'll get to see those characters that you're so familiar with come to life on the screen in just a few moments. But first, I'd like to plug one of my other series, Buddhist books. I'm digging through a lot of Buddhist books there with some silly commentary and kind of some ups and downs. It's a bumpy ride. It's not a clear, straight path, so don't expect enlightenment at all. It's much more of the old dusty men and their old dusty books kind of thing, approach toward Buddhism. But I recommend it if you're into that. And so I will close this episode the same way that I close each episode of that, with the prayer that my father taught me when I was very young. By the way, happy birthday, Dad. I thought that it would be nice to, do something Manly P. Hall related on his birthday. So I suggested March 6th as the day that we record this. You might be seeing this on March 7th, but I'm going to try to get this up during the day on March 6th, in U.S. time zones. So I'll just do that prayer, and then we'll transition directly into the music video, To Be You. And by the way, that's Lucid Nation on YouTube, so subscribe to them. Okay. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us, and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.